So today, we're going to dive into a really powerful and honestly pretty counterintuitive model for social change. It's all centered on a leader who took a very different path to fight for justice.
So what's more powerful than a protest? I mean, it seems like an obvious question, right? We immediately think of marches, slogans, people raising their voices. But what if the most effective weapon in the fight for equality wasn't a megaphone, but a spreadsheet? What if real power actually came from something much quieter?
Okay, so let's dive into our first section and meet this different kind of leader. We're talking about a man who understood that to change the system, you first have to be able to measure it. He decided to fight injustice not with slogans, but with strategy.
Now this whole explainer is about Dr. Mohammad-bin-Saud, a figure that, honestly, this term just perfectly describes, a knowledge warrior. His entire approach was built on this one simple idea. In the modern world, the most powerful truths are the ones you can prove.
And this one quote, man, it's everything. It's the core of his entire life's work. And it's a huge paradigm shift. He was basically arguing that, yeah, passion is crucial. You need it, but passion by itself can be dismissed. Organized knowledge, on the other hand, that demands to be heard. All right, so to really get this strategy, you got to go back to where it all began. We have to understand the environment that created this unique perspective, which was in one of India's most marginalized regions.
You see, growing up in Bihar for Dr. Alam, injustice wasn't some abstract concept from a textbook. No way. He lived it every single day. The poverty, the social exclusion, the total lack of opportunity, it wasn't theoretical. It was literally the air he breathed, and it shaped his moral compass right from the start.
But here's the thing. Feeling injustice is one thing, right? Actually dismantling it? That's a whole other ballgame. And the big turning point in his life happened at Aligarh Muslim University. That's where he got the tools to go from just feeling that injustice to being able to systematically prove it. And this is the light bulb moment. It's the birth of the researcher. This is the moment his moral concern got armed with the scientific method. He realized, hey, if you can measure a problem, you can hold power accountable for fixing it. You really can't argue with the numbers. Okay, so he's got this powerful new understanding. What does he do? He doesn't just write a bunch of academic papers that sit on a shelf. Nope. He built an engine, an institution designed to turn all that knowledge into real power. Let's see how he did it. He creates the Institute of Objective Studies, or IOS for short. And you gotta think of this as the practical application of his whole philosophy. It wasn't just another think tank. It was an institution specifically created to systematically gather evidence, analyze it, and, well, to basically weaponize truth in the service of justice. And this right here, this was his game plan, his blueprint. It starts with the moral why, the ethical reason you have to act. Then you gather the what, the cold, hard data. You build the how, the institutions to process all that data. And that leads to the impact, actually influencing policy. And the final goal, it's always measurable justice. It's like a chain reaction for real systemic change. And this quote just hits the nail on the head. It was never about one guy. It was about creating something permanent, a structure that would keep doing the work long after he was gone. The whole point was to build something that would outlast him and outlast the problems he was fighting. Okay, so we've got the theory, we've got the institution. It sounds great on paper, but did it actually work? Let's look at the proof, because, that's exactly what Dr. Alam would have wanted us to do.
The answer? Oh, it's a resounding yes. The work that the IOS was doing wasn't just filed away in some library. It fundamentally changed the national conversation and, way more importantly, it changed national policy in India.
And look, this isn't just some supporter making a claim. This is the big one. This is the chairman of a landmark government committee, Justice Rajinder Sachar himself, saying flat out that the ISO research wasn't just some helpful addition, it was the bedrock, the core foundation of their entire report. And get this, it wasn't just one report. The IS data was the foundation for two of the most important, game-changing government reports on minority marginalization in modern Indian history, the Sachar report and then the Kundu report. Think about that. Two massive shifts in state policy powered by the work of this one institution. And that's why this is so huge. This wasn't just theory. The data in these reports became the official government record of disparity. And that led directly to real policy changes. We're talking things like targeted scholarships to improve education, new initiatives to increase access to bank loans for minority entrepreneurs, and a real push for better representation in government jobs. They forced the state to respond not to slogans, but to facts.
And all this brings us to our final section, and honestly, maybe the most important takeaway from Dr. Alam's incredible body of work. It really is about what we choose to leave behind. Seriously, if you take away just one thing from all of this, let it be this simple, powerful idea. Movements are absolutely critical. They create the energy, the passion for change. But Dr. Alam's legacy teaches us that all that energy has to be channeled into permanent institutions if you want that change to actually last. And you know, this wasn't just a local thing. This idea had legs. Here you have the Prime Minister of Malaysia confirming the global impact of this approach, describing him not just as a man, but as a self-sustaining movement that's built to last because it's built on knowledge. Even the former Chief Justice of India, the absolute highest levels of the judiciary saw exactly what he was doing. And the key phrase here is within the Indian constitutional framework. See, his goal wasn't to tear the system down. It was to use knowledge to make the system live up to its own promises.
And this part is so important. His work was never, ever just for one community. You have leaders from other faiths who saw that his goal was to use truth to build bridges, to strengthen interfaith harmony, and ultimately to reinforce the whole fabric of a pluralistic society. For everybody.
So that's where we'll leave it. Dr. Alam's life really gives us this powerful blueprint, doesn't it? It suggests that while making noise definitely gets attention, it's the patient, strategic, and sometimes quiet work of building institutions that actually makes history. And the question he kind of leaves us with is, where will we choose to build?